Hi everyone, welcome to week 12 of our Comp 1 and Fundamentals of College Writing classes. This week you're going to be bringing everything that you've been working on the past few weeks together, including your research, your pre-writing, your synthesizing, and you're going to be producing a draft of Writing Project 3. By the end of the week, you will post your draft to the discussion board so that your peers can give you some feedback on it next week. For this week, make sure that you read all the tasks in the module. Be sure to post to the discussion board by Sunday. And then you're also going to be submitting task 12.2 by Sunday as well. For task 12.1, we have some chapters here for you to skim over in your textbook. Chapter 50 is on quoting, paraphrasing, and summarizing. 51 is on acknowledging sources and avoiding plagiarism. Chapter 52 is on documentation, and Chapter 53 is on MLA style. You do not need to read these sources in their entirety. Just take a look at them, familiarize yourself with what is there, because there's a very good chance that at least something in these chapters will be useful to you as you are putting together your draft of Writing Project 3. The actual task of writing Project 3 is task 12.2. I don't think there's much I need to say about this. If you haven't taken a look at any of the sample papers in the Student Success Gallery, it'd be a very good idea to do so, just to give you a sense of how other students have handled this paper in the past. It'd also be a good idea to reread the assignment sheet, just so you know exactly what the assignment is. But otherwise, you'll just be taking all the information you've been gathering, the things you've been working on over the past few weeks, and writing your draft. Task 12.3 is about designing your document. So this project needs to be in MLA format, just like Writing Project 2 was. And to do so, you can take a look at pages 588 through 596, which will give you examples of how your paper should be formatted. Some little things, your paper should be double-spaced. You should use 12-point font, Times New Roman or Arial. Make sure that in the top left-hand corner of the first page that you include your name, my name, the date that the paper is due, and the class. Something that you might want to consider as you are designing your document is whether you want to use any headings and subheadings. You may have sections in your paper that you want to label. That is something that could be appropriate for this project, especially if you are using the IMRAD structure. Task 12.4a is learning how to acknowledge sources. We worked on this a little bit for Writing Project 2, so hopefully this is largely a review. In MLA format, you need to cite your sources in two places. The first place is within your sentences. That is referred to as an in-text citation, and that often goes in parentheses. And then also in a works cited page at the end of your paper. This project in particular needs to have 3 to 5 sources, and you'll need to make sure that you are citing those both within the text of the paper as well as on your works cited page. Task 12.4b is a continuation on learning how to acknowledge sources. This is specifically about your works cited page. Your works cited needs to be the last page of your document. It needs to be a page all on its own, so it should not be on the same page as your paper. Any sources that you quote from or paraphrase from or summarize or really use in any way need to be included on your works cited page, and they need to be listed in alphabetical order based on the first letter of the citation. Have some info here about citing articles. That is what the vast majority of you will be using primarily in your papers. You'll be using articles that you've found from different places. Here we have an example of how you would cite an article that you found through the library database. And then your textbook, as well as a lot of helpful websites online, including the Purdue Online Writing Lab, will show you how to produce citations for other types of sources. We have a video here about citing database articles that you can watch if you would like a little bit of extra help with that. Task 12.4c is about in-text citations. Anytime within the body of your paper that you quote from someone or paraphrase someone or summarize someone or really use someone else's ideas in any way, you need to indicate that you are doing so with an in-text citation. We have a video here that talks about how to do those. And when you are using in-text citations, when you are referencing people within the body of your paper, you need to use what is called a signal phrase. A signal phrase tells your reader who is saying what, where the information is coming from. So in your previous paper, you would have said something like, Gene Kilborn talks about how blah, blah, blah. So the whole first part of that, Gene Kilborn talks about, that is your signal phrase because it tells your reader who said, who presented that information. Task 12.5 is posting to the week 12/13 discussion board. This is due by Sunday at 11:59 p.m. For this post, I'd like you to share a copy of Writing Project 3. That way your peers can give you some feedback on it next week. At the top of your post, I'd like you to share your personal goals as a writer for this project. What do you want to learn or practice as you are working on this text? And then what are you currently struggling with in your draft? And or what would you especially like feedback on from your peers? And you do not need to do any reply posts this week. You will be replying to your peers next week. The last thing you need to do at the end of this week, just make sure that you submit a copy of your draft directly to me. So we've done this for each other project in the class, but just in case you need a reminder, you will be submitting your paper in two places. You're submitting it to the discussion board, and then you're also submitting it directly to me using this link here, Submit Week 12 Work. All right, so now let's take a look at what we are doing in fundamentals of college writing. Task 12.1 is a review of what the instructor conferences are like. So this week you will be signing up for conferences that will be held next week. I do want to remind you that these conferences are worth a pretty significant portion of your grade. And I grade you based on how prepared it seems like you are for the conference. Even if you feel like you are very prepared for Writing Project 3, even if you feel like you're really on top of things, you should still come prepared to ask questions and get feedback on your paper. So if you just say, no, I'm good, I don't really have any questions, you will not get full credit for the conferences. I generally recommend that people come with about 3 questions, 3 or more questions to ask. You can also ask me to look at portions of your paper as well. But if you just ask, what could I be doing better? Or is my paper good? Things like that. You also will not receive full credit. I'm looking for thoughtful, specific questions about how you can improve your writing. Task 12.2 is to actually sign up for the conference. We have instructions here for how to do that. To do so, you will come over here to Instructor Conferences Sign-Up Sheets. This is our 3rd conference, so you'll open this up. And then you'll see a list of the available time slots. You will just go to Edit Wiki Content, which will then let you type your name in one of the spaces here. This is the number that you should call when it is time for your conference. And if you don't see a time or date that works for you, just send me an email and I'm sure we can find another time that would work for both of us. All right, task 12.3 is posting to the discussion board. As per usual, you have a discussion board due on Thursday night by 11:59 p.m. For this post, I'd like you to write out the most current version of your thesis statement and tell me what concerns you have about it. Number 2, as you work on writing Project 3 for Comp 1, what is your most important, most significant remaining task? And then finally, are you confident in the relevancy of your sources to your research question? How do your sources work together to help advance your exploration of your research question? That is all for this week in Fundamentals of College Writing. If you have any questions or concerns, please let me know, and I would be happy to help you out.